The Uni House Trip. If memory serves me correctly, this mycospawn consumption also occurred in the fall, though honestly, I'm rather unsure. The memory begins with me on a solo walk toward the infamous Uni House one Saturday night. It was a house near Centennial Woods that Rashid and his fellows had lived in for a couple of rent cycles, but had ultimately left to new renters after they graduated. I was invited by my new friend Margaret for a community dinner over there, as well as a late-night hang with live music in the basement. I knew the occupants of the house were a college band called the Squatches. They were 4 dudes I had watched perform at open mics and house shows and were skilled musicians I respected. I had to wonder if Margaret was seeing any of them. I stupidly felt excited to tell all of them that I knew Rashid, a former resident of the house they currently rented, as if that would amount to some street cred and my personality would have to do less work. I think one of them knew Rashid, and those who knew him respected him, so they should respect me likewise. Margaret greeted me at the door and showed me to the dining room, where a huge table stretched across the entire room and was covered in a variety of different vegetarian options. I must have consumed my mycospawn some 45 minutes prior, because the visual sensations were already starting to take hold, and the table looked about 25 feet in length. I said hello to everyone, 4 of which I had never seen on campus before, and took my seat at one end of the table next to Margaret. Directly across from me on the other end of the table was Sarah, a girl with hair so blonde it almost looked white, and I was attracted to her immediately. We made eye contact, I preserved, for probably too long, because she gave me a look like, "What are you looking at?" As the mycospawn took hold, the orderliness of the dinner took on an eerie tone, like it was a sacred dinner of some kind, like all of it had happened before. What was about to happen here? I didn't eat like the rest of them, because the spawn had eliminated my appetite, so an anxiety grew about seeming strange to them, even though none of them would care that I took mycospawn. Terry, one of the guys from the Squatches, could sense my anxiousness. "Steverino, man. What's good, man? What's going on?" He laughed a bit as he said this, something he did practically every time he spoke. I realized that there was nothing to hide and explained that though I wanted to eat the food, I had eaten mycospawn before heading over there, and thus couldn't eat it if I tried. They all laughed together, and I assumed my strangeness made much more sense to them. "It's fine, man," the lead Squatch man said lovingly. "It's fine," he said, a bit more drawn out. As he said that, I looked up at the wall above Sarah to see a painted rainbow and the words, "It's fine," written in rainbow paint, with extra I's and extra E's, which matched the way he had said it. The painted phrase and rainbow were really there, and had been there since I got there. I just happened to notice it right as Terry said it. The way I saw it, I could either not trust them and live in fear of quote-unquote whatever they had planned for me, or I could believe it was all good-natured and have some fun. Having learnt from my time with James, I chose fun. After dinner we hung around and consumed green power while we listened to music. I tried to be in the same vicinity as Sarah, so I could get in on the conversation, but mostly I listened to her and her friends talk to each other and wished I knew how to relate. Still, in the few small interactions we shared, I felt a faux sense of divine connection, the delusional nature of which became apparent as soon as she took a call from her boyfriend. She took off without a goodbye, though I was a bit crushed, since I was someone avidly on the search for love at the time. I still managed to enjoy myself. I talked more to the other people at the house and felt bad for underestimating how cool they might be. As I talked to one guy, it looked more and more like his face had a dog or rodent-like snout, sort of like the crack fox from the mighty Boosh. This anthropomorphic vision came and went in waves, but there was a sense that whatever I was seeing could have been his true form. The reality may have been that I was talking to an animal humanoid only disguised as a human. Luckily, this was only a passing thought, and I got on with the night's lighter conversations. More people left, and I started to feel like a sex-hungry lingerer, especially after I watched Margaret and the head squatch embrace, so I said my goodbyes and headed out. I left with a tinge of loneliness and wondered what to take away from it all, but figured I best chalk it down to a weird night with some people who may or may not be my friends.